Hey, hi everyone, welcome back. So, guys, as part of this session, let us see how exactly we can handle a post operation using this particular playwright. If you look at it, basically, this is the URL, and for the post, right, you need to insert the data, hence, we are passing this particular body. And this is what the response that you are expecting from your post. Okay, perfectly all right. So, what I'm gonna do right now is let me create a new program here and I'm naming it as API 3. Okay, perfectly all right. So this is the program that I have created, which is an API 3, and in which delete this content and let me change this name as a post example 1. Okay, this is what the post example 1 is. And if you look at this particular post, this is what the URI is. Copy this URL. Open in a new tab. Okay, this is what the post is. Okay, I think I have missed something. Yeah, this is the URL. Okay, now update it here as part of this particular endpoint URL. And this method, okay, whatever we are gonna use is of a post. This is not the get. So change this to post. Perfect. And here, delete all unnecessary things from the bottom. Perfect. But if you observe the post here, we need to pass some JSON input so that we will be getting an output. So the JSON input we need to pass. So how exactly we can pass on an input basically for a post? If you look at this particular syntax right now, for the post, the URL you need to specify and you need to open the curly braces and you need to end the curly braces. In between, you can pass, if at all you want to pass on the header information, you can pass on the header information. If at all any data, which is the JSON data that you want to pass on, you can pass on the JSON data. And if at all you want to pass on any cookies, you can pass the cookies values also here. So, which means after the URL, separate it with a comma and you need to pass on these many details. Perfectly all right, good enough. But for the endpoint that we have a picked right now, right? For this endpoint that we have a picked right now, I don't know what exactly the headers are. They haven't given as part of the documentation. What I'm doing right now is whatever the URL that you have, copy it, go to your postman, put that URL here, okay, and change the method to post. Okay, change the method to post. And here, this is what the body is. Copy the JSON body, come back here as part of the body inside the raw, and I'm choosing as a JSON, pass this JSON. Okay, that's it, guys. And now hit the send button. As and when you hit the send button, you are getting a response as a 200. Okay, perfect. And if you look at these options right now here, there is a authorization and there is a headers also. Let's go to the headers. Authorization, anyways, we will be looking at as part of the next session, headers. So if you look at the various headers that we have, see, these are the various headers that it's being accepting and that it's being automatically handling. Okay, so the content type, you have an application slash JSON. Let us try to pass on this particular header. So come back. What I have seen here is after this one, put a comma. And here you need to separate it here with this. Okay, perfectly all right. Now, what I am dealing here is, okay, here. Now, we need to pass on the first one. If you look at the syntax, if at all any headers and data and a cookies, there is no specific restriction that we need to pass on this order. So I'm passing my headers right now. Okay, headers, and the header value, whatever the multiple headers that you want to pass it, you can pass it here as part of this an object type. Okay, as part of an object type. And here, if you look at your postman basically, which is content type. Okay, this is a content type. Okay, so copy this particular content type, come back here, and I'm specifying it as, okay, the content type, and this is gonna be what is the value for this particular content type. So the value here is application slash JSON. Get that and put it here. Okay, get that and put it here. I have updated my headers. And along with that, the next set that you need to pass on is a data where you can pass on the desired sets of a data. And here, this is what the complete set of information that you need to pass on. Okay, this is what the complete set of information that you need to pass on. Copy this data and put it inside that. Okay, copy this data and put it inside that. And as it is in a multiple line, in order to understand it in a better way, you can pull it into a single line. It's up to you basically whether you want to pull it into a single line or whether you want to pass it in these many lines. So here, the data is starting here and the data is ending here. Now, if at all any cookies are there, you can also define cookies and you can define that particular cookies values also here. Okay, we can define that particular cookies values also here. But at this particular point, we don't have a cookies, hence I am not passing any cookies here. So the ultimate point here that I was doing is for this particular response, send this header, send this particular data. And this data, I'm defining it as Surendra MacBook. Okay, I'm just giving it as a Surendra MacBook. And here, let me try to print console.log and I'm using response data. I'm just trying to print it. Let us see whether it is printing down the actual information or not. See here, the entry got created successfully and you are getting that particular name as a Surendra MacBook. So this is the way how exactly you can handle the situation, guys. Okay, the post scenario. And for suppose from the response, okay, consider that from the response you want to get the created it. So as the response is of a single set, we don't have any array type here. In the response dot created it. For suppose I want to get the CPU model. In the response, you have a data object. So response dot data dot CPU model will be getting this particular value. Let us try to get it and see basically whether it is printing that value or not. So here, okay, so we need to store it, right? So where CPU model is equal to response data dot from the response data, you have a data and in which you have a CPU model. Okay, so where it is, so you have a CPU model. Okay, CPU model. So as it is having a space, I think it's having some issues in retrieving that. Okay, CPU model. Let us see. Response dot CPU model. Let me, I don't think this will work. Okay. Response dot. Okay, so let me look at the response once here. Year, price. So price, we are not getting any issues. Okay, so price we are not getting any issue, so only the space we are getting an issue. Let me look into that particular one, so we can pass that particular one also. So here we have just stored that information. We need to print it. So here console.log CPU model. Okay, perfectly all right. Let me try to run this particular program, whether it is printing the price or not. See the same price value got a retrieved to the console. So this is the way how exactly we can specify this information, guys. Okay, so this is the way how exactly we can specify that particular information. Okay, perfectly all right. So let me see how exactly we can pass on this CPU model. Just 1 second. Let me cross check this CPU model as well so that we can complete this full video. Just 1 second. Yeah, guys. So in order to retrieve the field with a space, we need to follow a different approach. Directly the escape characters and all those things won't work. So here, what I'm gonna do right now, this is what the space field, right? What I'm gonna do right now here is let me store this field into a variable. So here, what I'm doing here is where field value is equal to what is that particular field that you want to get it. So here, that's the CPU model. And I'm storing here as part of the CPU model. And here, instead of putting a dot and getting that particular value, I can use simply this field value. Okay, I can use in the braces, you need to pass on that particular field. Whenever, whichever the field is having a space, this is the approach that we need to follow. So when I run this particular program, if you observe, IntelliCore i9 got a retrieved. For suppose if you want to get the hard disk size, see the output here is a 1 TB, right? So let me change this value to an hard disk size. And now when I try to run this particular program, see 1 TB got a retrieved. So this is the way how exactly we can retrieve fields with a space. So guys, in the previous session, we have retrieved the values for the fields which don't have any spaces in between. But if at all the fields are having a space, here you just need to follow this particular syntax, which is within the braces. You need to specify that particular field name. Okay, perfectly all right. See you again in the next lecture. Thank you. Bye bye.